The Ukraine war has sparked tension between NATO and Russia, with the Baltic region and the Arctic region emerging as strategic areas. NATO countries dominate the Arctic, with Canada and Russia sharing the longest borders. The Canadian armed forces are unprepared and atrophied, making it difficult for them to provide meaningful deterrence. The retreat of ice sheets in the North Pole has opened up regions in the Arctic Circle that were previously impassable by most modes of transportation. This has impacted Russian and Canadian maritime operations, as the region is rich in resources for gas, oil, and rare earth minerals. The Arctic has military value as it provides the shortest route for missile launches, reducing early warning of attacks. NATO, Russia, and China recognize the importance of the Arctic, and it must have a credible deterrence presence in the area. Canada has the Northwest Passage Arctic maritime route, and the longest NATO Arctic border in the region is underprepared for an increased NATO role. The Canadian Armed Forces currently have 71,500 regulars and 30,000 reservists, but are understaffed and have chronic issues with their readiness. The Canadian military's chronic underfunding is a major issue, with the government spending only 1.3% of GDP on it. Despite NATO's commitment to increase defence spending to 2% of GDP, Canada has not met this target. Despite pressure from NATO members, Trudeau has not met this commitment and offering NATO that Canada will reach the 2% target by 2032. This has led provincial politicians to call for the Trudeau government to reach the 2% target before 2032. Canada's systemic issues with procurement, including cost overruns, political infighting, and oversight, have contributed to the country's chronic readiness issues. The Trudeau government's complacency in addressing military issues has contributed to its complacency, which has not been adequately addressed by NATO pressure. The opening of larger parts of the Arctic and increased tensions with Russia have put Canada at the forefront of the discussion. The Trudeau government has promised to increase defence spending by $5.9 billion over the next 5 years, but this still falls short of the 2% GDP goal and does not significantly change the procurement process. This could lead to continued underfunding and a continued issue with the Canadian Armed Forces' low readiness and contribution to NATO Arctic priorities.